And we have a special guest right here, Ramesh. Yay. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much.
And someone who we've wanted to have on the podcast for quite a while, and we finally got around to our schedules meshing and all that. And
raw meshing.
Yeah. Meshing everything. Yeah.
Ramesh is
that's right.
I'm like pun girl, bad pun girl.
No, that's fine. It's easier to. That's how I actually spell my name. Like I'm like helping out people, you know. Ramesh.
I'm Ramesh.
Just keep a mesh and then add around.
Ramesh is like a walking encyclopedia. He's one of those people that seemingly knows everything. And
you may have seen his video he did for some of his favorite movies. We'll put a link in the video. You'll be able to look at that. His intro to Cinemondo and tell you a little about him.
Yeah. We you know, it's Halloween, and we have the little thing down here that says it's Halloween. It's October. We always talk about scary movies. There is an Indian film that has just been re-released into theaters. I guess a kind of legendary film.
Notorious,
classic,
for sure.
Notorious.
It's only 2018, I think, is when it came out originally. So it's not too long ago. But
it has its own cult following, I would say, like which wasn't expected.
All right. Yeah. It kind of started small and people went, this is something. Let's put it in theaters again. Because most people probably didn't see it in the theater.
Yeah.
It's called Tumbbad, right? Is it Tumbbad?
Yeah. Tumbbad. Yeah.
Tumbbad.
Yeah.
And I had never seen it until just a couple days ago. And it's pretty amazing. It's pretty weird and wild and beautifully made. Really great performances in it, especially from some of the younger actors in it. The children, there's children in it that are just great,
really good,
and some unexpected characters in it. Characters that you don't really like. You know, like the main characters, you don't really like them. You know, they're not nice people.
But you know, you're oddly kind of rooting for him. But he was doing such terrible things because I think we can all kind of relate to, you know. I want to find the treasure. I want to solve all my problems by getting rich. And then you see the corruption happening and you're like, and you see what he's willing to do for this pursuit, almost like this addiction to
and
it.
Greed will turn you into a monster.
Right. So let's talk about it. Ramesh, tell us a little breakdown of what the movie's about.
So for me, just to give an idea about the movie itself, I think the first time I watched it, I didn't have any expectations because I haven't heard about the director before. I haven't read about him, not much. So I just jumped into watching the movies because I like watching horror movies in general. And then the premise felt really very nice. Turns out, I think I just got engaged with the movie as soon as it started within the first 15-20 minutes. Yeah. Especially given the, the whole color palette. It's dark, gorgeous. It's raining. It's, that was a very nice setup, like, to keep going forward saying that, it is definitely going to be something either terrible is going to happen or it's going to get more scarier. There's a lot of enigma to it as to there is this particular character called Hastar, whose name keeps coming up. And the good thing about this is that you don't have to relate it to any of the stories that are out there. It's a fiction. So the Tumbbad itself is a fictional village, as they call it in the Tumbbad universe, I guess. Yeah. So that's a new term they have been coining. So Hastar is the main character, the god, the so-called god in that Tumbbad village, and then how the main protagonist or antagonist at the same time, I would say, is trying to, he wants to make money, and then he knows that he can get it. And the plot is about how does he unravel it? How does he figure out a way to get it? So it's quite interesting.
Yes,
the characters sort of serve time at the beginning of the film. There are things that you can talk about with this as far as his, like, what made him so greedy, and part of it, I think, is the fact that he grew up in such poverty and under sort of almost enslaved by this weird thing that they talk about that's in this room that they have to feed. And his mother is unhinged. His mother, unfortunately, is also, I guess, ruled by her greed and all that, and is doing what she's doing in order to try to inherit this house, and there's some secret treasure buried and in a mansion, you know. And it's a fascinating story that sounds like a legend. It sounds like an ancient story, but you said it's not. It's like it was written. I mean, it's not based on any kind of real mythology or any story.
No, it's a fictional story. I mean, the main premise is that it focuses on greed, which is a very common concept, like one of the sins. So it's. I mean, I enjoyed that. Like throughout the movie, they tend to show that the greed is everywhere. And there's no end to it as such.
Right.
So
and you need to look at yourself sometimes and make sure that you're not being greedy about things. You know, it's like. One of the interesting things is that these kids at the beginning, they're two kids, and one kid seems to be a little bit more virtuous than the other one. And the other one seems to be like, you know, let's make her tell us where it is, you know, let's make this monster give us the secret, you know. But the other kid is kind of like, you know, maybe we should be good kids. And then unfortunately something terrible happens to him. And then we watch the other kid grows up and becomes an adult, and he's still obsessed with this idea. He goes back to the house, and
there's something about the treasure hunt idea. Trying to find this mythological treasure, and also all realizing, oh my God, I'm the only one that has found it or knows what it is. And then the fact that it's so hard to get to, so hard and so dangerous, yet he still keeps doing it for and that's a whole lot. We can talk a little bit about spoilers, but the reveal of the demon and the money and how he has to get to it is so, I was kind of blown away by it because I've never seen quite like it. It was so weird and so strange. And I was like, this is what, so I like the idea that he's like, yeah, maybe I'll take someone along with me next time. And you're just like, oh, this is not good.
Yeah.
I mean, well, all of a sudden, go ahead.
Well, let's say to anyone watching this, if you haven't seen it, go find it somewhere and watch it.
It used to be on Netflix. Really easy to find, and now they took it off in America. Anyway, they took it off of the streaming platforms because it's in theaters. So eventually, it will probably be coming back to streaming if you can't find it in a movie theater near you. But don't give up. And there's also a few Indian sites that's streaming, and I think you can pay for it on a few sites. But it's worth it.
It's definitely worth it. I would say
from here on we're going to talk about things. We're going to go into the spoiler zone. We're going to talk about
light spoilers.
Light spoilers.
Light spoilers.
A lot of people can't find it, so I don't want to totally ruin it. But we know the light spoilers. But I thought the main actor, what was his name? Hold on, let me find his name. We're starring. Sohum Shah. Sohum Shah.
Quite good,
He was really good because he had a very chiseled hero look. Like he looked like someone you would want to follow and like pay attention to. And so it was almost painful, and to see him becoming more and more corrupt, more and more greedy, treating people worse and worse, and then putting people in harm's way because to serve his own interests. So I like that you're in a way kind of along for the ride, which in the very beginning, I mean, just even, you know, the car going across the beautiful epic landscape, like the cinematography. Oh my God, so great. But he was great in it. I thought, you know, he tread that line of being sympathetic and not sympathetic. I mean, I wasn't necessarily rooting for him to get killed, but eventually you kind of are because he's so terrible. But at the same time, you're kind of deep down going, I might do some of this. I don't know.
Well, that's the thing. A good movie about a vice like this that makes you question your own virtues, you know, like, would I don't know. You know, it's a whole bunch of gold, and it would solve all of my money problems, you know?
I mean, like, I think the best part of the movie is that it's like you're going on an adventure ride, you know, you're just engaging in it. Although it's based on greed. Like, although there are things that the main character does, which most of the audience won't, you know, conform to, or they're against it. But still, it's just the whole mystery of the story. How does he get the money, or how does he figure it out and then keep going forward?
Yeah,
and that's very interesting.
And why is it only a little bit every time? And you kind of have all these questions. Why doesn't he just get the whole treasure and get out of there? But
You know how demons be. You got to be very particular about how you treat a demon.
It's like a ritual, right? Like, I mean, there are these occult movies where you see witches or like people doing all these sorts of ritualistic stuff. It has to be like a sequence of steps that you get to the end. Any mistake and then you're done for.
Yeah, you did one step wrong. Released him into the real world, and now there you are. But I did love the strangeness of how he had to get the money. Like, basically, he has to take the gold out of a demon's diaper, kind of in a way, like out of his loincloth. Like he basically shits gold. His loincloth. He's like, shits gold. You got to grab the gold out of there and distract him while you're doing. Like, I'm just gonna stick my hand in here and grab this gold. So crazy. But it's done in such a cool way, and I just love that environment. This bright red, amazing, weird cavern. It almost looked like you're inside an animal or something. It was
in the womb of the goddess.
Oh, that's in the womb of the goddess.
That's right. It was and so he's going down like in a rope into something into the womb. So that was very creepy.
You can create a dome of protection over yourself with flour because of
that's right.
At the beginning, they explain that the goddess has, you know, there's like the whole gold and food, you know, the dough of the bread and the gold. So his curse was that he would have the gold, but be trapped with it, you know, I guess. And then the dough is always constantly hungry, I guess. And that's why when you turn into a monster, you
gotta feed him.
Ravenous. I think it's more to do with like the goddess is Hustler's mom, and then she's a goddess of gold and grain.
So,
that's right. That's right.
Grain. So that's where the dough comes in.
Right.
So and he
combination.
Hustler, I think that's how the whole the background story goes, that he steals the gold, and then before he turns into stealing the grain as well, the other gods curse him, saying you cannot have it. And then just to protect him, his mom basically safeguards him inside her womb.
And this guy figured out how to get into the womb, which is so weird.
So
I love that
place under his house.
Love it. And I don't even want to give away the big ending, because the big ending was spectacular. Like,
it's amazing. It's
blew my mind. I was like almost didn't want to finish watching it. I'm like, this is too much.
That one, the one surprise part when the kid brings more than one. Okay.
Let's just bring more food. Okay.
That was unexpected altogether. I mean,
totally. So well done. So I'm raving about this movie because it's one of the first Indian horror films I'd watched, because I'm a huge horror fan. So I started watching Indian films, like, again, started like most do, like with Bahubali and RRR, and then you kind of expand out into the different languages like KGF and then Malayalam films, and I love Fahad Fazil and all that. So that's happening. So then it was like, where's the horror? Because there isn't a ton of horror in Indian films. Like, I haven't seen a ton of them. So when this was the most recommended, when I'm like, does anyone know any good horror films that are, you know, from India? This was the one. Tumbbad. Everybody kept talking about it. So I'm like, okay. So when I watched this, I'm like, holy shit, this is like mind-blowingly great. So then I've been searching for the next Tumbbad ever since, and there have been some great ones, but mostly, like you talked about, like they start like bringing like horror comedies becoming a thing. Like I love Stree. I love Stree. I love Raj Kumar. It's like, he's amazing. So I love that. So they're great at the comedy, and then they can bring in all the stuff people love, the dancing songs, all the gloss, right? But this one was pure horror, like indie horror, gorgeous cinematography, desat, you know, these complicated kind of corrupt characters, you know, demonic elements and greed, you know. It was such a perfect little horror movie. So now when people ask, so what are some horror movies for Halloween? This is always the first one I recommend, because it's like, this is so unique. Like, sure, we can recommend, watch Saw and watch Halloween, but tell them this and they go, huh? So I'm hoping it'll be out on streaming before the end of October, so that America can get hip to Tumbbad.
It's a fun one too. It's not one of those sort of depressing horror films. It's kind of almost, in a way, kind of uplifting. Is that correct? Like, it has a good message and kind of has I mean, we're trying to avoid spoilers, but there is a sort of a character who rises to at the end to be kind of a heroic character.
It's like, you know, the rags to riches story.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's like blended all together with the horror theme.
That's right. That's right. And you kind of feel in a way kind of sorry for the demon, which who would think you could feel sorry for a demon? I kind of felt a little bad for it. So, you know.
Yeah. He's down there wearing his golden crown.
He's not bothering anyone. He's in his little crown. He's just waiting around inside this thing. He can't go anywhere or do anything. Yeah. He's hungry all the time. I feel bad for him.
Yeah. That's a never-ending hunger. So
that's a never-ending hunger. You can't get enough bread. No. So, but I thought it was a fantastic film. It was complex. It had a lot of great characters. When I recommend it to people, I'm like, just let it like work magic. Don't try and figure out what's this. Don't try and predict, because you never will. Like, what's the mythology? You've never seen it before, so don't try. Like, who are the main characters? Just let it happen. It's like, I don't understand this demon. You don't have to. Like, just let it do its thing, and all of a sudden you'll feel like you're in a whole new world. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And it just you're talking about the world building and the place, and the fact that Tumbbad is not a real village, but they filmed it in real places. I think I read something, but they filmed it in those exteriors and the houses and things were not like sets. They were, and the rain evidently was real rain, because they filmed it in a place where it's constantly raining.
Yeah, monsoon season, they just went, let's just shoot here, and it just constantly rains, and you didn't have to worry about it.
We don't have to
let it rain. It's low budget. Special effects.
I think I stand corrected. I just wanted to make sure if Tumbbad is a fictional village or not, but turns out it's actually a village.
Oh, okay.
Okay. We'll edit that part.
Myself. Yeah, I have to stay corrected here.
Okay, then fill us in on the real story then.
Yeah.
But I think it's I think I read that the actual rain was real. They didn't bring it, because a lot of times they have to bring in rain rigs, these big grids that they hang over the set that sprays water down, and often it looks a little cheesy, especially when you have wide shots where you're seeing into the distance where it's only raining over the characters,
and then the people aren't really getting that wet, even though it's completely pouring.
Right, because you can get these rigs that kind of make a circle and they rain around people, so and the people they get them a little bit wet. But in this, it just seemed like people were getting absolutely drenched. There's one shot that I have to call out that I absolutely love. I went back and rewound this shot a few times. It's where the near the beginning, where the son and the mom are escaping from the city of Tumbbad, the village, and they're in a boat, and there's a guy in front of the boat, and it's just this hellish. It's just a beautiful shot. There's just this guy driving the boat, and they're sitting in the back, and there's these sticks over them, and they're just fleeing this horror. And it's raining, and they're going down this river, and there's this one long shot where you see the boat in the distance with the little lantern on it, and you can tell that it's just raining everywhere. The mood of that shot, and there's a fire on the shore.
Yeah, I love that. That was
just burning, and it's like such a poetic moment in the film. And there's a lot of those really sort of poetic shots in this film, like really beautifully composed mood.
Yeah, the mood was something definitely I would say for that, because the whole setup was it just takes the characters in and also the audience inside with them, especially when the beginning of the movie where they show the small place or the house that the family lives in,
right?
With their, I don't know if I can talk about the grandma or
you can talk about the grandma. It's kind of in the beginning.
In the beginning. So
so creepy.
Yeah, that was the creepiest part. Like, I wasn't expecting that.
No,
especially where obviously the kid's mom, she's taking care of the grandmom, and then it falls upon the kids at one point in the story where they have to feed her when she's out. That was terrible. I mean, especially if you're a kid and you're watching that movie, that part is really very scary.
Yeah,
it's really scary. Don't rely on kids to do that. That's dumb.
There's something we have to say. There's something not quite right with grandma. Grandma
anytime there's a horror film, there's a grandma in it, it's never good. Never good.
Yeah.
So any last thoughts of what you want to tell people about Tumbbad?
I would say definitely watch the movie without any expectations.
Yeah.
Like, because I know there have been a lot of horror movies in the Indian film industry in general, but getting that right amount of attention with the story, engaging the audience, and then not having a lot of not romanticizing things. You don't have any songs or fights, or which the general theme of the movies. This is something refreshing, I would say, after a very, very long time.
Yeah, very good wrap up.
Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah, I put it up there in the list of movies I would recommend for if you like horror films.
Yeah, totally recommend it. Yeah, definitely. So check it out and be sure and let us know in the comments what you think of Tumbbad once you watch it. You really, really try and seek it out. Apparently it did really well in its re-release in the theaters. I think even people like me, if it had been in LA, I would have seen it. But I would love to see it on the big screen. I bet it's just gorgeous and amazing, especially inside the womb would just be terrifying. So definitely check it out and be sure and let us know. And we'll talk to you guys later.
Yeah. Sure.
Thanks so much.
Ramesh.
Thank you so much for having me on the podcast. Thanks for the invite.
Yeah. No, if you have to promise though on camera that you'll join us again.
Yes, definitely. I want to join. I want to be a part of the podcast more.
Be part of the podcast.
That's a legally binding contract.
Okay. Yeah. Sure. You can take.
And you will not get paid. There is no payment.
Yes, there is the same pay rate. Yeah,
we all get paid the same. All right.
Bye. All right.
Hang out. Don't go away. Ramesh, hang out with us, and we'll be right back.
Sure.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.